London, March 8th, 1814. Dearest Charlotte, I write to you from bed because I am a slothful creature today. Aunt Anna said I could have a little lie-in since we arrived home so late after the Warwick ball. I am delighted to lounge the morning away with letters and hot chocolate. I will begin with the fashion, as I know that is of the utmost importance to you. My gown was delivered in an enormous box, stuffed with tissue, and it was everything lovely, just as I had expected. It fit my figure like a glove, and while low cut, was still modest enough to prevent talk. I wore completely impractical yet fashionable dainty slippers, and wool sapphire blue cording, and a small ostrich plum into the looped plaiting at the back of my hair. Lady Ashworth transported Aunt Anna and I to the ball in her elegant coach with emerald and gold livery. There was such a throng of chaises and horses arriving for the ball I started to get nervous. I thought of my responsibility to my dear mamma and sisters at home and how we shall survive without papa. Such pressure. What if I don't succeed this season? I cannot guarantee that Aunt Anna will sponsor me more than one season. All I could do was hold my head high, despite the weight of my coiffure, determined to feel equal to anyone there. We were announced by the master of ceremonies as we descended the staircase and entered the ballroom. Because Lady Ashworth inspires both fear and admiration, all heads turned. I simply looked straight ahead and focused on not tripping down the steps. It was already stifling hot in the ballroom, even for such a cool spring evening, but I gathered my strength to avoid fainting. That wouldn't do, to make an entrance by tumbling down the stairs. I stuck to the wall for the first few dances. It felt so strange to know no one besides Aunt Hannah and Lady Ashworth. I haven't been at a social occasion without a familiar face before. Lady Ashworth and Aunt Anna were working behind the scenes to get some gentlemen on my dance card. I could see them whispering behind their fans at all sorts of powerful mammas. Yet only two gentlemen asked me to dance. The first was with Lord Bellingham, whose cascading waterfall of a calvert seemed to impede his ability to speak. He said barely two words to me besides, "How do you do?" I replied that I was Miss Ridgefield. He made a grunt to affirm he had understood, but did not reply with actual words. And that ended the conversation. He couldn't end the dance quickly enough. On to Mr. Lawrence Wells, the son of a well-to-do and recently knighted merchant. At first things proceeded optimistically. We danced a quadrille, and he didn't ignore my attempts at conversation. But then he went to fetch me a glass of lemonade and never returned. I found him a half hour later preening before a looking-glass, adjusting his hair. I was not expecting such a cold reception. True, it is well known that we had let Richfield Hall, and my dowry is non-existent. But I am the daughter of a gentleman, and mamma was the daughter of a baronet. Unfortunately, my humiliation did not end there. Near the refreshment table was Miss Bianca Gresham, eyeing me with a very cool expression. She was surrounded by several young ladies who I met at tea weeks earlier, and they all adopted Miss Gresham's surprised, superior countenance. It was too late to avoid them, so I bowed my head and curtsied in greeting. There were a few gentlemen with Miss Gresham's sets, and I waited to be introduced, but no such introduction came. It was quite awkward. Finally, a gentleman by the name of Henry Bonneville, Lord Hamilton, introduced himself and the rest of the group, and offered me a glass of lemonade. As he handed it to me, Miss Gresham bumped my arm, and the lemonade spilled down the front of my gown. Everyone gasped, and it went completely silent in the refreshment room. I held my composure, smiled sweetly, and let myself be escorted to the ladies' room by Aunt Anna. While I appeared to be the picture of grace on the inside, I was livid, Miss Gresham, absolutely devious, but also I just do not understand. Why does she see me as such a menace? I am determined to not let her hostility affect me. At this point, it was late, so Lady Ashworth called for her carriage, and we took our leave. On our way to get our shawls, Lord Hamilton came to pay his respects to Lady Ashworth and Aunt Anna, and to confirm that I was well. He assured me he would be more careful when passing me a lemonade at the next gathering, and made me promise that I save the first dance for him at the next ball. Even though we departed early, I left on such a high that not even my lemonade soiled gown could dampen my mood. It was not what I expected, but a lovely end to a strange and wonderful evening. But I must dash now. Give your family my love. All my best, Caroline. Brighton, March 16th, 1814. Dear Caroline, how cross I would have been to have a new gown ruined. Was the maid able to salvage it? I'm sure Lady Darlington's maid is clever and can repurpose it. I am concerned about this Miss Gresham. She is actively trying to ruin your chances. Your wit, beauty, strength of character, and ambition to be married will surely see you happy soon. But I fear Miss G has no reservations about doing her utmost to damage your reputation. Is there anything Lady Davington or Lady Ashwood can do? As your patrons, I would hope they could be of assistance. Lady Ashworth sounds like a formidable presence not to be trifled with. Surely a Miss Gresham can be no match for a Lady Ashworth. Now to appraise you of a most wonderful evening of dancing held just last night. I danced every dance, was never in want of a partner. The gentlemen and officers I danced with were ever so elegant, witty, and amiable. If this is to be my experience at a ball in Brighton, I shall be spoiled forever. Papa is worried I have aphonia due to my hoarse voice. Mamma told him it was simply my gabbing the night away with officer after officer. Papa met Colonel Barrington just last week and learned that the officers under his command are all good fellows and decent gentlemen. There was very few beauties present at the ball, which surprised me greatly. Even Mamma admitted her astonishment at how few beauties were in attendance. Do not think me cruel to judge them harshly. I must honestly and fully satisfy your curiosity with every detail of the event, just as I would if we were in person. I, on the other hand, never looked half so well. My peak-sprigged muslin did the job admirably, especially with my beaded ivory bandeau woven through my hair. I have never felt so lovely. Mamma said I looked like a sunbeam as I was simply floating around the room. I danced the first two with a Mr. Maxwell, who I have seen about town, in a dashing curricle pulled by a handsome pair of bays. He was an extremely elegant dancer. I was so nervous, as this was my first dance of the evening, but he was an excellent conversationalist, and quickly dispelled my nerves. Next I danced with Lieutenant Briggs, who was very kind, although not the gentlest dancer. He is from a family near Bakewell, which reassured Mamma and Papa. I danced the next with Sir Pembroke, a recently widowed gentleman who, despite being nearly 16 years my senior, was rather handsome and easy with which to converse. And then with Lieutenant Wyndham, then Mr. Livingston, a very fine-looking local merchant, and finally again with Sir Pembroke. Mamma, Susanna, and I thoroughly enjoyed our evening and came away with bits to hash over 4 days to come. Oh, how I wish you could been there. I believe you two would have found the gentlemen to be handsome dance partners. I must dash. We are off to tea with Miss Honeywell. Hopefully Susanna can contain our secrets better. I am sure she is bursting with all the news from the dance. Take care, my dear friend, Charlotte. Devonshire, March 24th, 1814. Dearest Caroline, oh, how we miss you, darling girl. There have been so many changes in such a short time. Losing Papa, moving to a new home, and now you in London. We're doing our best to adjust to living with your Uncle and Aunt Campbell in Devonshire. The cottage they let us is snug, but quite warm and cozy. They're the kindest people in the world, but we miss our old routine at Ridgefield Hall. I long to walk to Bakewell with you girls and stop at the Barlow home to visit. I even miss our old rickety old carriage that I always complained about. Do you remember when we visited the Campbells at Christmas last year? Your father kept us singing and laughing into the wee hours of Christmas Eve. Such festivities and merriment. I treasure those memories and am happily reminded of them every time we go to the big house to dine with the Campbells. Most of all, we miss your dear papa. Little did I know he was bearing such a financial burden. Alas, I now carry that burden. We make do with the small cottage and reduced style of living. Your sisters rarely complain about our simpler meals, and you know I am the picture of contentment no matter where I reside. I am sure you will come to love the little cottage as we have. I hope your grief does not make it too difficult to enjoy your first season in London. Your papa would have wanted you to enjoy yourself. I certainly did when I was your age. During my first season out, I danced with anyone who asked and delighted in every ball I attended. Your sisters keep busy with their needlework and are sewing a patchwork quilt together. Rebecca misses your daily walks, but stay in good spirits with the four young Campbell children, whom she dotes upon. Both of your sisters devour every letter you send, and are quite envious of your trips to the Modesta. They are very much looking forward to borrowing from your newly stocked closet when you return, unless, that is, you go straight from London to a new home of your own. How do you find the gentlemen prospects you have met? Are there any promising young beaux that have shown an interest in you? Just remember to be friendly and encouraging, but not overtly flirtatious. Also, dear, do not be too picky or opinionated. Marriage can be a wonderfully fulfilling arrangement, but, simply put, it is the best way for you to secure a safe future for yourself and your sisters. Of course, you know all this, but it is my duty as your mother to remind you of that which you already know. I trust that you are behaving well and not being a burden on Aunt Anna. Please send her our love and write soon with all the latest about London. Sending all our love, Mama. Welcome, guys, to the last letter for March 1814. London, March 30th, 1814. Dearest Mama, Rebecca and Abigail, oh, how happy I am to receive your letter. Just returned from taking a turn in St. James Park with Aunt Hannah. It was nothing like our leisurely walks to Bakewell. I have a special dress just for such a promenade, and Lady Ashworth insisted I carry a parasol. It was quite the spectacle, but so entertaining to see and be seen. We had pleasant conversations with several young ladies and their mammas, and even said hello to a few gentlemen I recognized from the Warwick ball I attended. The gentleman's situation is perplexing, Mamma. I attended the Warwick ball earlier this month, and I did enjoy myself, but I fear I am not having much success. I only danced with two gentlemen, neither of whom showed much interest in me, and probably only danced with me because Lady Ashworth and Aunt compelled them to. I am not rising above my station, as I am a baronet's daughter, so the disinterest was not due to rank. I even have the clothes, accessories, and manners to play the part of an elegant young lady. I did not expect to be the diamond of the season, but I thought I would have more interest. I did meet one gentleman who showed me great kindness. His name is Lord Hamilton, and he is quite dashing. He made me promise the first dance to him at the next ball. He is tall, with deep green eyes and wavy dark brown hair that is out in the fashionable short style. I find him very handsome and charming. I do not believe his friends encouraged his association with me, however. Their manners were fine, but felt neither genuine nor warm. Aunt Anna and I are to attend a ball at Almack's Assembly Rooms this Wednesday evening. Lady Ashworth is a patroness of Almack's, which, to my great fortune, grants me a standing voucher to attend each ball. I plan to wear a violet satin gown that has a plum velvet ribbon that ties under the bodice, puffed gauze short sleeves embroidered in gold, and plum and ruffled gauze that peeks out at the hem. At the last ball, my hair was in such an intricate and heavy coiffure that I spent much of the evening keeping my balance. I hope this week my maid styles something simpler. Lady Ashworth is quite concerned because several waltzes were danced at the Warwick Ball, and she fears the dance is becoming such the current fashion that it will be requested at Almack's too. When we were at the Modesta, they discussed how scandalous this would be for young ladies like myself because of the close face-to-face manner of the waltz. Mademoiselle Florine whispered to me that the waltz was such an intimate, sensuous dance that I would love, since she thinks I am a romantic at heart. I do not forget my duty to find a suitable match in London, but I cannot help hoping for a touch of romance too. I wish I could share the luxury I live in now with you all. I hope I shall not be spoiled by the divine clothes and furnishings. It would be too easy to get used to. Despite this temporary opulence, I long for the comfort of being with one's family, even in a cozy cottage in Devonshire. Aunt Anna is perfectly amiable, but I admit to being a little lonely. I miss you all so much. All my love, Caroline. Hope you enjoyed March 1814 letter, and I will see you in probably the 1814 letters. Subscribe, thumbs up or thumbs down, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!